love you, Omar.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
No, it's been madness because I just get back from rehearsal and Rick's gone and there's 10 different things going on.
Right.
You know, we leave here soon. We're up there very soon.
Right. So you were getting into the part of the Get It On where you were being asked to do these fills at the beginning of the song, and then that kind of came to life in studio.
Exactly, and that happened on quite a few songs. If you listen, there's a few of them, and I was glad to do it because I go, oh, cool, I get to show off, and it's hard rock, and that's the thing. Kingdom Come was hard rock with a blues inflection.
Right.
We weren't a hair metal band. We didn't really fit in kind of anybody. We were just because it was a very heavy hair metal time, and. Which, nothing wrong with that. I got tons of friends who are hair metal guys, and there were some excellent bands out there.
Right.
So we were a little off the cuff. So we didn't really kind of fit in with anybody, but we played with everybody. It was pretty cool.
Right. And then, I think the In Your Face record didn't get its due back in the day. I mean, I think even as I think back to when I heard that first single you guys put out, Do You Like It? I mean, just the whole song of it. It was a fun song. Great record. I mean, great follow-up record. Obviously, that I hate to give grunge a lot of credit, but I think it was just the shift in the climate. And do you think that's what basically hurt the end result of the promotion of that record?
Well, a couple of things happened. Our album, for the first 6 months of 1988, it was the number one selling album of all albums. Mm-hmm. We shipped gold. It was phenomenal, and we're like going, "Oh my God!" Right. And then this band came out of nowhere, and their album had already been out for 30 months, and they were called Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. Who knew?
Right.
And from that time on, everybody's focused on them because they exploded. Remember it. I don't know if you remember it. But
yeah.
It was awesome because that album is just phenomenal. And the tide was shifting then because Guns N' Roses isn't really. They're not metal. They're not. Hair band.
Right.
They're just Guns N' Roses,
right.
And they kind of raised the bar for a lot of hard rock bands. And then just a matter of a year or two later, here comes Nirvana, and it's just like Jesus. And so a lot of people don't understand the dynamics. I mean, I'm not referring to you, but a lot of fans they don't understand. Well, why do your band go well? Well, because we're with a record label, and they're putting a couple $1 million into our band. And when our album starts to slide, they pull the plug and they don't promote anymore. You go from a 6-month promotion deal to only 3, and because it's their money, and it's so that was that time. Everything's totally different now, as you know. So It was what it was, and I'm still super proud of both of those albums.
Right. For the follow-up record, In Your Face, I know you guys work with Keith Olsen, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
At any point, did you guys consider Bob Rock, or was he unavailable, or what was going on there where you worked with Keith versus Bob again? Because that seemed to be like a great formula, for the debut record and stuff.
He was unavailable doing Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood.
Okay.
And the story behind the story there is kind of funny. Because remember, no internet back then. You had to actually go physically talk to people.
Right.
I finished the Monsters of Rock show here in LA, and my tech comes up and he goes, "Hey, Tommy Lee wants to see you." And I go, well, "Okay, cool." So he comes back, he goes, "Man, dude, you guys were great. You're a great drummer. Man, who's the producer on your new album?" And I go, "Bob Rock." He goes, "Watch this. We're going to get him for our next album." And they did.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey, but how'd you wind up with Keith? Like, who recommended him? Because I think you went on to work with him too later on with Wild Horses, I believe.
Wild Horses, yeah. And he did Scorpions, the Change album,
That's
Crazy
right.
World.
Yep.
These things happen like, somebody from the record label higher up says, you guys should go with Keith Olsen. And it's also about availability, because these guys take the first thing that's going to pay them a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to like the band. But that's kind of the way that stuff worked. And, it's politically smart for a band when the higher up at a record label says, I really want you guys to use Keith Olsen. And when we say no, then we use who we want, and then the album comes out and flops.
Sure.
Look who got the last laugh.
Right. Exactly.
Record label.
You are doing this 30th anniversary tour. Lenny isn't a part of it, but I assume, and this is again just my assumption, being an outsider. Imagine he probably owns the name, because he went ahead and did some Kingdom Come records since the disbanding of the classic lineup. How did you guys strike up some kind of a deal where he said, yeah, go ahead and do these shows, or was he interested, or was it just financially not? I guess financially not feasible for him to do it, being that I think he's out in Europe, I believe.
Well, he's in Hamburg, but that is irrelevant. I started talking to Lenny, I think in 2008, about, hey man, when there's talk, there's going to be a Scorpion farewell tour. I say we go do this, and sure enough, here comes, we did Sting of the Tail, and this is Scorpions now.
Right.
And they announced the farewell tour, and we're going to go around the world and say farewell to everybody, which we did. But then fast forward to Lenny and all the boys, we all got together here in LA, and we had dinner, we rehearsed, we talked, we chatted, everything. And then I get a call, and from Scorpions Land, and they go, hey James, I know you're doing your Project Rock and your solo stuff, Kottak and Kingdom Come, but can you not play with these guys? I go, what? They go, because we decided not to say farewell.
Oh.
And I go, well, that's good news, it's bad news.
Right.
But the good news was we were going to go make another album, which was Return to Forever.
Right.
And it was another 3 years of touring, which my allegiance is with Scorpions, always has been. So that's how that went. So I had to pull the plug, which nobody was happy about.
Right. So,
and then now, what you're seeing now is the result of starting back in early, November, still talking, and then Lenny finally decided in January, he said, you know what, just don't want to do it, I'm retired. And because he just had enough, man. A lot of people do that.
Right.
You just don't hear about it. And he posted on his website, I retire. So it's nothing personal. We're still friends. We chat, and we'll see each other again. And but I immediately got on the hump and just got another manager guy, agent, and it's been a super uphill battle, because we're basically starting from scratch.
Right.
But it's paying off, and we're up and running, and things are very good.
Right. And it's interesting, because I know earlier, and I was familiar with the Montrose Mean record. I remember picking up that cassette, and I think it was on Enigma Records or something.
Yeah.
But
Shrapnel. Shrapnel or Enigma?
I think it might have been. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But Keith also has history with Ronnie, and you have history with Ronnie. And, were there auditions for the gig, or did you immediately think Keith is the guy for the job?
Well, funny enough, going back to 91, when I got the Wild Horses deal with Atlantic, this is right after Kingdom Come, because it was like my side project. I go, I'm going to make another album on the side on my own. And for Wild Horses, we auditioned maybe 50 singers, something like that.
Right.
And some of the best of the best, and my pick was Keith Olsen, Keith St. John.
Right.
And I was just outvoted between producer man, this one, that one, and sometimes you just don't win, so we went with somebody else who was equally talented. But I always liked Keith, and I've seen him around LA for years. And I actually played one song with Ronnie Montrose live, and Keith was the singer on it.
Oh.
And I just always really thought he was just great all around.
He does have this kind of almost Sammy Hagar-esque type of vocal, but at the same time he's pretty versatile. I've seen him do all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him with Lynch Bob, because that's no easy gig.
Right.
And that's totally not the Sammy Hagar style singing.
Right.
He can do pretty much just about anything, and he's proven it now with King of Gum. I'll tell you what, he's just killing it, and I can't wait for everybody to see.
So I'd assume moving forward, at some point, if the opportunity arises, you guys would like to do some original music. Obviously not back catalog type stuff.
Well, no, and like you said, we must have some kind of deal, and that's private. I can't talk about it.
Right.
But we have to wait a certain amount of time before we can do our own music, and that's fine with me.
Okay.
Because what we want to do now is go out on this little tour, test the waters, reconnect with guys like you and this one and that radio station, if there are any left, and the fans and friends and family we know all over the country. That's our tour. If you see the routing, you'll go, oh my God, because we originally wanted to stay west of the Rockies, and it didn't make sense. So this is like we're taking it very slow, methodical, and we're going to say, okay, we want to do this because we make it out there, and it may not be what we want, and. But we're already talking about shows for 2019 regardless, because so far the views are selling really good. And, I think things are going in a very, very positive direction. Right.
Just a few more things. So, I know Johnny Edwards at one point was the original vocalist, I think, in Wild Horses, right?
Yes, and he was also on the Montrose Mean album.
Right, exactly. That's yet another connection. But with the Bareback, how do you think, how different did the end product of the album was different from the original vision after Johnny split and went off, and I think he went off and did Foreigner, right? From there?
Yeah. Mick snagged him up. Yeah. Johnny's great, man. Yeah. And Mick needed a singer, and it's a very small rock and roll world. It turned out to be a little more commercial than I wanted. Mm-hmm. I wanted almost more like a heavy Black Crowes, which they're pretty heavy.
Yeah, right.
And it was more of that and more bluesy. But I still love the way Bareback turned out. Yeah. So I'm proud of that album.
So you, as you mentioned, you were part of Scorpions. I think you came on board right around '96. Pure Instinct.
Yes.
I know you didn't play on the record, but you were on the promotion tour. And
however, in '95 they did send some tapes over to Keith Olsen, and I did record about 4 or 5 tracks, but they were on deadline, and they ended up using some studio guy in Germany, and so things just happen the way they do. And you've always got a record label saying, "Hey man, we got a deadline. Hey man, we got a deadline."
So how did you get the call for Scorpions? Because I know you had history with them as well. I mean, earlier you mentioned Monsters of Rock tour. Obviously, Scorpions were on that U.S. tour that you guys did with Van Halen and Metallica and Doc and stuff.
Well, like I said, Keith Olsen did the Crazy World album, and that was right before we did the Wild Horses album. And I still knew the guys from Monsters. And, I'd stop by the studio, say hello, blah, blah, blah. And then also, a little after that, I did the MSG album, Michael Schenker and Robin McCauley. And like I said, it's a very small world. And then, honestly, I played with Warren for a while after that. And the whole
that's
time,
right. I remember that.
Yeah. Ultraphobic album is still one of my all-time favorite albums. Me and Rick co-wrote a lot on that with Janie. And hold on. I lost my train of thought. I have cats. No. Literally, when I was done playing with Warren, I was just kind of writing my own crap for my band, Kottak. And the phone rang, and I picked it up, and there was a manager-sounding English guy, and he said, "Hello, James. And my name is blah, blah, blah. hey, I'm calling you because the Scorpions wanted to know if you'd be interested in having a play with them. Just come over to Hanover and check things out. I'm like, going, no way. Of course, I said.
Right.
I was like, oh, right. And I said, of course. And I went over there, and it was, they were checking out a lot of drummers, but, they had seen me play multiple times from the touring, and they, knew I, played on this album, that album, and that album, and Keith said, get him, man, So it happened very fast, and I was very proud. And 21 years later, wow.
Yeah.
Those guys are, we're still friends. I just saw them about a week ago. And it was just great to catch up with everybody. And we talked by email here and there.
Right.
And, and I went out to say hi to all the crew guys. And, so it's, I still have a great rapport with them. And they're just awesome people.
Fantastic. I just got a couple real quick, and I'm sure you could just blast through these, and I'll cut you loose because I know you're a busy dude and you got lots of stuff to do. A number of years back, there was a trailer online, I think, that I saw for that. I think there was a documentary that you were working on specifically about, I think, I don't know if it was your life or just kind of your touring and all that stuff. Did that ever get completed, and what's the status of that, and how much footage do you think you accumulated from that particular thing?
There's tons of footage. It was mostly a behind-the-scenes look at my life, where I was at that time. And a lot of the stuff was really good. Unfortunately, I had a falling out with the producer, and it just never materialized. And then also, almost simultaneous, after I'd started shooting mine, I was like maybe a year into it, we started shooting the Scorpions documentary, Forever and a Day.
Exactly.
So it didn't make sense. What am I going to do? Put mine out with theirs? So I kind of shelved it from there. And then, you can always revisit it. Just like I wrote a book, kind of a life kind of a book, but it's not just, hey, I was born in this city in 19 whatever. So, that's another project I want to get to. But there's only so much time in life.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Perfect. And that was my next question. I was going to say, if James Kottak decided to write a biography, I mean, what would it be titled?
I was going to call it 33 Days. And of course, I could call it Rock and Roll Forever because it's tattooed on my back.
Which that's a lot. You have to do that, I think, because that's a huge commitment to have that inked across your body like that, man.
Yeah, but you have to see it from the 60th row where we have cameras and stuff. The other idea was the real world of rock and roll. I can't talk today; my head's blown out with sound. The real world of rock and roll.
Fantastic.
And I had all kinds of little titles, but the book business is kind of going kind of south the way the music business has gone. Right. There's not a lot of money being doled out to, if you're Steven Tyler, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, of course, everything's going to be done. The drummer from the Scorpions, blah, 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 unless I find the right people. So, again, it's something I want to do, and it's really, I'm very proud of myself. It's 190 pages front and back, so that, do the math.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But then once you edit it and blah, 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 and you get it down, so.
Fantastic.
So we'll see.
Cool, man.
But thank you for asking.
Yeah. Well, James, thank you. It's been a pleasure. We'll get this online. It's going to be for print, so we'll transcribe it and get it online and get links to everybody. And
beautiful.
Fantastic.
And
I can't wait to see you guys live.
Well, if you come, you'll be our guest, and it'll be very good to meet you. Yeah. And if you could also add the KingdomComeRock.com band. I always get it wrong because there's so many of them.
Okay.
And our Twitter. And our Facebook
we'll put the links to all the official stuff that you guys have going on the press release and stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind adding my stuff, my James Kottak, whatever my Twitter is.
Yeah.
That stuff. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
Really, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Take care, man.
I'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah. I hope so.
I got a lot of friends. Okay. Got a lot of friends in Portland.
Cool. Sounds great, man. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Right. Bye.